There are far more benefits to publicly funding sports stadiums and arenas than there are to privately funding them. And the benefits can be sectioned off into two major points. The first being economic benefits, and the second being quality of life benefits. So your economic benefits are going to be the benefits that you can measure. So this is going to be jobs created, profits, income, etc. And the quality of life benefits are going to be those immeasurable benefits that we see, such as how the community views itself, how the community members get along, and community happiness as a whole. So first, I would like to talk about the economic benefits. The first point of economic benefits are the franchise owners profiting. So obviously, the franchise owners are going to profit if they don't have to finance out the entire cost of a new stadium. So, and evidence suggests that individual sports franchises, their income will increase by 10 to 40 million with the building of a new stadium. The second point under economic benefits that I'd like to touch on is job creation and increased income. So because it takes so much to build a new sports stadium and arena and to keep it running, we're going to have thousands of new jobs for the people in the community, and everyone's income is going to jump up because now they're working. The third point under economic benefits that I want to talk about are the tax revenue increases. So sales and income tax revenue are going to increase because of the increased spending in and around the stadium due to the personal increased income from those working. So it all ties together. Now I want to get into the quality of life benefits. So the first point I want to talk about is consumer surplus. So attendance at sporting events can create what economics call consumer surplus. So that's going to be the difference between what a fan is willing to pay and what a fan actually has to pay for a seat at the game. So it's going to be cheaper for them to get into the game when it's publicly funded than it is for them to get into the game when it's privately funded. So then the consumers benefit, which causes a cause and effect. So then they're going to keep coming back and keep wanting to come to the games. The second point that I want to talk about is fan happiness. So a local sports franchise is going to create benefits for fans, and they're going to tell their friends about it, and they're going to tell their family about it. And so then it increases. So now it's not only one person who can afford only to go to a single game, but now they can afford to attend more games, their friends can afford to attend more games, their family can afford to attend more games, and then we're all benefiting. The third point that I want to talk about under quality of life benefits is civic pride, and this is a really important one. A local sports franchise is going to create civic pride. So essentially, this is going to put the city on the map. And cities with sports franchises can be often viewed as world-class or a major city, and people often like living in these types of places. Now, let's go over some other things like the building of the sports stadiums and what that means for jobs, etc. So, sports stadiums are huge construction projects, as I'm sure you know, that usually take years and years to build. So we have the jobs increasing, and our consumer spending is going to increase. So for example, more than 3.5 million people came to a game, a St. Louis Cardinals game in 2015, and these millions of people, they paid for parking. They ate at the restaurants around the stadium. They bought food and drinks in the ballpark. So all of that spending really generates revenue and jobs for the local community. And those parking attendants, those people working in the restaurants, and those stadium workers, they're going to spend their earnings, and the money circulates again throughout the economy. And this is called the multiplier effect. So this is where $1 of spending by consumers, businesses, the government creates more than $1 in the economic economy. So the economic impact of millions of people attending one game, you can imagine, is a lot. A new stadium also is going to hold the promise of new development in the surrounding areas. So this is going to include new restaurants, new bars, new condos, new office spaces. And so as there's more investment in the area, the value of existing commercial spaces and residential spaces is also going to increase and improve a lot. So the increase in traffic is going to create just an increase in the city overall. And it also shows in my research that the increase in consumer spending and kind of putting the city on the map and just increasing the surrounding areas around the sports stadiums also helps reduce crime around those areas. So when you consider where sports stadiums are often located, they're going to be in your urban cities. Your urban cities are going to be more known for higher crime rates than, say, your rural areas of town. But because we're all spending money, we've got more traffic, we've got more things popping up like restaurants, condos, office spaces, this is going to inherently reduce crime. So all in all, there are so many benefits, economic and quality of life, that far outweigh the benefits of privately funding the building of sports stadiums and arenas. Because if we're going to privately fund them, we risk consumers not even being able to afford to get to the games. So then all of these other things that, like the multiplier effect that we spoke about, they're just not going to happen.